Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, people from all around the world. So if you read the narrative of one of our first videos that we posted from the Homestead, that wasn't just a short, then you probably know that the last couple weeks of my mom's life, we were on quarantine from COVID. And because of that, we could talk on Facebook and we could send text messages back and forth and whatnot. But my mom was in complete and utter isolation because we were next door neighbors. We lived up here. And because of the disabilities that she had, she didn't leave the house much and physically wasn't capable of going to visit other family that lived afar and that kind of thing. And so when my husband and I and my son couldn't come over here because of what was going on in our lives, she was pretty much alone. And so she was known for having a lot of hobbies and pastimes, things that she did to keep herself busy and productive and engaged. She had a large following through her blogging and sharing of devotionals. And unlike some of us who have, lots of followers, but we might not hear from them or talk to them for a long time or on a regular basis, my mom had close, intimate relationships with all the people that she was connected to through social media. And some of the comments that I've gotten from folks with her passing has been about how folks miss her devotionals, her Bible studies, and her sharing a lifetime of wisdom that she gained as a faith-filled believer and as someone who lived their convictions and their principles and their faith in every part of their life in every way. And today is a very, very sacred day in my mom's world. Probably one of the most, and I find it so ironic that she went home and left this earthly plane before we got to this holy day. Because, my friends, today is Passover. And whether you are a non-believer, a believer, Christian, Hebrew, Muslim, Catholic, disenfranchised Christian, irregardless of what your faith is, if you know anything about the Abrahamic traditions, then you know that Passover, it has been observed since the beginning of God's time, since before Jesus Christ was born and walked the earth. It was observed by Jesus and his followers. And it is the first day of one of the feasts that is one of God's holidays. And in this, you probably are familiar with Lent and Easter, both of which are upcoming. And these are days where we should set ourselves apart and observe our faith and our traditions. And so on that day, and to that end, what I'm working with here is the last things that my mother created with her hands before she passed. She was stuck at home. We were on quarantine. And so she had been hoarding cardboard for a while. A huge while. She had a pile that was taller than she was on the table beside her in the chair that she passed away in. And she was a heavy smoker. Please don't think that I'm condoning smoking because I know smoking is bad, but she was using Mod Podge and taking and cutting up and gluing together old cigarette packs and other pieces of cardboard to make biodegradable seed starting trays. And even though I have probably hundreds of pots and trays, I felt like the very first seeds that I sowed this season needed to be in Mom's seed starting pots that she made. So the question is, what do we plant in them? I've thought about it. I've rolled it around until it's almost too late to use the silly things. And I'm thinking perennials, herbs, things that I'm going to put out in the garden that are going to grow and help our other plants to be successful, and that will also come back either from seed or from the plant, and that we can preserve and dry so they'll live on beyond the life of this cardboard and the life of this potting soil, and be useful to us in a practical way. Because if I'm going to use one of the Lord's holy days to follow my heart and do what I think I'm supposed to do, then why not make it useful and productive? So, even though we're not doing DIY instructional video style seed starting here, like most of my compadres that you will find on YouTube, we are doing our first seed starting for the 2021 season. That's not in the garden. And we are doing it using my mom's handmade seed pods. And I'm hoping that because they've had time to air out from the tobacco that was in them, they will be good and useful, not disintegrate on me in my seed starting station. And we have some great plants come out of them. That's the plan. And I will just have to keep you guys posted. So, FYI, I've saved a little bit of soil back in my pre-mixed soil that I'm going to use once I cast my seeds here. And then I will use it to cover the seeds that I start. And just so you guys know, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with, like I said, herbs and other items like that. And what I will do is I've left about 1/4 to 1/2 inch unfilled inside of these containers that my mom made, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to thick sow whatever it is that I want to plant into these, because I know these aren't going to hold up with daily watering and the like for a long time. So I'm going to use these to thick sow some of my seeds. And then here in a couple of weeks, once those seedlings come up and they're thick, then we can take an up pot from these containers into either these, which have more cells, right? Or something like this, depending on the size and what we get to in a couple of weeks. So that's my goal and my plan. And of course, I will keep you guys posted on the progress that I make over the next little while doing that. And again, this is using repurposed cardboard, store-bought potting soil, some hot water, and taking the biodegradable seed trays, filling them almost completely full, all the way up to, like I said, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch with moist potting soil. Then I'm going to sow the seeds, like I said, that I want to thick sow into these. So if I would normally, for one plant 1, 2, or 3 seeds, then I'll do probably triple that, so that when I split them, I can split them into 2 containers, and then again 2 containers. So each one of these, when I sow seeds, if the seeds come up and they do well, I should be able to get 4 of these that can go into the garden, either here or somewhere else, out of each one of those. And I feel like all the work that my mother put into making these, that would be a good use of these resources. So again, for the second time tonight, I thank you everyone for your subscriptions, for following, for your views, and for spending a little bit of time with me to help me honor my mother and her spring fever and our goals here on the homestead. And again, on this holy day, I pray that you be blessed. Until next time.